But yeah, we saw this movie a few weeks ago, opening weekend. And I left the theater disappointed. How did you leave the theater? How were you when you left? No. Look, William. I'm going to have to ask you to calm down a little bit. All right, that's better.
So what was your question again? I'm sorry, I was lost in Blandville. What was your question again?
What was your, how did you feel when you left the theater? Were you kind of like,
Yeah. I was like,
All right. Yeah. All right. So
I mean, I got listened to a lot of 90s girl music, I guess. You know, the nostalgia part was like,
yeah, it was cool.
Okay. Yeah. But I was like, yeah. I mean, there was some of it like we predicted completely. We knew exactly what was going to happen. We're like, we know exactly what's going to happen. Yeah. Some of it, I had some questions like, well, that doesn't make any sense. But we jotted all that down, so we'll get into that. But yeah, I wasn't like, yeah, this is awesome. I was like, I didn't like, it really stunk. We were just kind of like, meh.
Yeah, over time, like I was thinking about it, I'm just like, I don't like this movie, man.
Well,
it took me about a day to really like come to terms with that. I was just kind of like, I left, and I was just kind of like,
well, I got to say, Brie Larson doesn't care what I have to think. So we'll have to go with all his.
So what was good about the movie, William? I think you have more good than I do, or you might have the same amount. We'll
yeah, I mean, okay. Well, okay. There's good and then there's not bad. I think is how we're gonna get it.
Okay.
So I do like pros and cons. So that kind of the not bad fits into sort of the goodish pro thing. It looked good.
That's fine.
Special effects are great. The colors and all that, the setup and the shots, they look great.
Costumes were cool.
Costumes great. The sound is great, of course. The action was pretty good. The Stan Lee
cameo
was great, which was interesting because they actually used, because he was very sickly at the time of the filming and he really couldn't quite nail what they were trying to do. So, because if y'all picked up on this on YouTube from Kevin Smith, they actually used some of the takeaway lines that they didn't use in the Mallrats film of having him say, kind of buck up, true believer, or whatever he was saying in the movie. And they just kind of did that. And they kind of, laid that down over the, when he was on the subway, the elevated train, the LA train. So that was kind of cool. The comedy was pretty good, I guess. I mean, it wasn't bad. So it wasn't like, oh, here we go again. It's really bad jokes or whatever. So the comedy was fairly good. I mean, some of it was a little heavy-handed. It was, most of the movie was like so on the nose. It should have just been playing on a giant nose. Like the screen should have been shaped like a giant nose. But it was. I think the probably the best way to say this was I wasn't surprised they did what they did. Nothing really surprised me other than undoing some things they did in the other movies in some ways, which is kind of a con. So we're talking plot positives. So what are your positives?
Because you said comedy. There was one, I don't know if it was a joke, but I chuckled to myself when I saw it. There was this sign that said 150 days without a scroll attack. And I was thinking about those 100 some odd days without an accident, without a on work injury. And I see that so much because I go to like all these different facilities. So seeing that, I kind of chuckled to myself. I'm like, is that a joke? And then, so that I thought that was fun. Like you said, the costumes. I like the costumes. They were cool.
Yeah.
And
I mean the overall look with the outfits and costumes look overall.
The technology back in the 90s, I thought that was some nice head nods. The whole thing where they're sitting there and they're just everyone's sitting around. The guy's like, the one scroll's like, "What are we waiting for?" Nothing. It's loading. Yeah, I thought that was cool. I was like, well, yeah, that's how it was back in the day. So,
but see, that's the thing. I don't think that's a good thing because we didn't like it back then. We were like, but it was like, what you had to do. But I don't. That's not a. Is that a positive thing?
It's
Is that a positive thing?
In the sense that I would say like it's accurate, but it's also funny because it's like, all right,
it's a funny memory of like,
yes,
oh yeah, I did
we
that.
didn't like it back then, obviously.
Yeah, the dialogue.
Yes,
you know,
hated that.
We're like, oh yeah, that's kind of funny.
But now you look back at it, it's like, yep. Yeah,
considering she's working with like, you know, she's taking a Game Boy and hacking into the phone system to call across space.
Right.
And you're like, oh, that's instantly. I can talk to them across space instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then now you're like having the dial up things. It's like, okay, that's funny.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that.
One more thing I wanted to get into, one of the positives, Samuel L. Jackson's de-aging.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was really, really good.
Really good. I was like, wow. Really
yeah.
You know who he reminded me of when I looked at him? It was two things. Especially, I don't have a good close-up of his hair here, but it reminded me of two things. Reminded me of how he looked in Die Hard with a Vengeance, with but he had glasses on there. But also in and I couldn't find a picture earlier, but just Loaded Weapon.
Definitely.
Yeah, because he had the same kind of hairstyle in Loaded Weapon or whatever. I was like, okay, that looked really good.
Right. They might have pulled that from there, actually. I mean, maybe they might have, because that's it. That was him.
Yes.
So you could easy enough to kind of pull that together.
Coulson, on the other hand,
that was not. The
thing is, Coulson doesn't look old to begin with.
No,
like you probably could have done
makeup. You probably get some makeup. Yeah.
The hairpiece can kind of come and go, but I'm just like, no, and it's kind of sad because they've done. Oh, there I got a picture of him right next to.
Yeah, but you can see right there, and he was kind of balding a little bit right there. Anyway, you can kind of tell. Because I think in Patriot Games he was kind of balding like that too, because that came out around the same time.
Yeah. And I thought I had a picture of it. I guess I don't have a picture of it, but I was trying to find Chris Evans, Captain Rogers from Civil War, and how they had him even in Captain America. Like if you look at it without the color grading on it to make it look like a 40s film, if you look at it without the color grading on it, it's like, okay, yeah, I can definitely tell. Like, all right, that doesn't look very good. But once you put that color grading over it, it was like, that's pretty seamless. You know, him as, little scrawny Steve Rogers.
Like,
that looks actually really good. It looks better than what they did here. And I'm just like, y'all have done better.
Yeah.
And like, y'all could.
Well, and we talked about this before. It's like the Carrie Fisher from Rogue One.
Yeah.
It's horrifying. It's horrifying. Now, it might, in some ways, which is funny because you said like the Chris Evans. I mean, he's a white dude. Yeah. But then with Coulson's character and the Carrie Fisher Princess Leia character, they couldn't quite get it right. And I'm like, I wondered if it was the skin tone and the lighting. Maybe that was it. It might have been might have been an issue because Samuel Jackson. It was so. I had a hard time even thinking. I had to remind myself I was looking at him as a younger CG age because it looks so good.
It does.
I mean, and they got tight up on his face.
Yes.
And you looked at it, you're like, dang, that's good. You can't hardly ever tell. And that's even better than say the Henry Cavill mustache thing. People were like, oh, I see the mustache or something. When
they spent like 16
but Coulson, when they showed it to him, he looked like an alien. I mean, he looked fake.
Yes.
So
yes, and that's why a lot of people were saying like, is he a Skrull? And I was like, well,
actually,
one of the biggest pet peeves I have with filmmaking, and it annoys me to no end that people let this slide so much. Is I'm like, show don't tell.
Yeah.
Show don't tell.
Yeah.
You're gonna say she's an emotional person. You're gonna talk all this stuff.
Oh, wait. Ha 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 ha.
You're going to like say like she's got so much anger built up into her or whatever, and you're going to say all of these things, and I'm going to pull this up real quick. You're going to say all these things about her, and this is the face she has through most of the movie. I'm sorry, and at the very least, like I said, I don't know what they told her to do. I don't know if she just like she saw the script and was like, this sucks, and I'm just doing whatever, or they were just like you said, like maybe they were just like, dial it back or tone it down. You're supposed to be like this strong female character, so you need to be stoic all the time and everything.
But they need to shut up because they don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, and to chime in here, and I I've done more acting than you.
Yes.
But that's not saying much. And I've taken more acting lessons and stuff than you, which again is not saying much.
Yes.
So now I agree. I know I'm not a great actor. I know. And I've done some pretty good roles, but they're, nothing to write home about, and definitely not going to win any awards because she's an award-winning actress. And I told her big ups for that. She did really great in Room. So big ups for her on that. No problem with that whatsoever. But I think in this movie, Room was a very dramatic movie. And I think in this movie, she didn't understand sort of the action female character, I think because I think what she was doing, and again, it's my opinion, it's just what I've read from watching. And I'm pretty good at reading people for the most part. I mean, that's part of my job too. I kind of have to read people and kind of see where they're coming from. And I'm like, it looks to me like she started having fun with the character, realizing, hey, this is an action movie, I should have fun with it. But then she says, oh wait, but I'm acting, so I have to calm down. And so I think because there were times when she kind of forgot she was acting and just kind of went with, like they say, act, don't think, or think
don't act.
Yeah, act before you think is the thing. Is act before you think. I think she started doing that, but then she dialed it back because there's a couple of moments where she kind of broke of that, and it was like, okay, cool, interesting, and then she went right back to Captain McBlam instead of Captain Marvel.
Yes.
And I'm like, wow, because she. And I've seen that in other movies too, where the actor starts to go somewhere like, okay, they're getting interesting, and then they go boop back to Blandville.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, okay, so and then you're just completely out of it. You get bored.
Exactly.
Because there's nothing different or new or interesting. It's like, you're too emotional.
Yes, exactly.
That's basically it.
Exactly. This is one of those main moments. I'm like, look, everyone's saying this, but they're not showing it to you.
Right.
That's the problem. I'm just like, we don't need everything spelled out. We can have some nice, and we're going to get into this later too, but like we can have some nice moments of just visual storytelling. You don't have to say a damn word. That's how you show it. Don't spell it out. Just show it to us. We got it. We're on board or whatever. Like I said, the one way you really could have fixed that is have her do something emotional that gets her stranded on Earth.
Right.
Whatever. Have her do something emotional that puts the people on Earth in danger.
Or something emotional that gets her to lose the MacGuffin or the Tesseract or whatever.
Right.
Or her friend gets captured. Something because she's impulsive. Of like not focusing on what to do, and all of a sudden the little girl gets kidnapped or something. That would, and then have her come back from that. It's like, oh crap, I shouldn't have done that.
Exactly.
That would have been better.
Exactly.
I agree.
Now she has a legitimate flaw, and she has to overcome that.
Right.
In this movie, she doesn't have that.
No. And some people were saying in their reviews that she was a Mary Sue, and I don't think so because I wouldn't put that. No, I mean it all fit in with her character. And again, we didn't know much. Now, I will say, and I agree with some of the reviewers, is like they should have let us not know her backstory before she did. We should have discovered it at the same time she did. That would have made it more interesting.
Very true.
It's like I keep having these flashbacks. It's like, okay. And then maybe it's kind of like the Bourne thing. He doesn't know anything about it. So he discovers it, and we discover it with him. That's cool. Let's do that.
Exactly.
So kind of like the show Don't Tell.
Exactly. Yeah, but because we know about it, it's like you're sitting there waiting for her to figure it out.
Yeah, you're just like, okay, catch up already. We're getting bored here.
Yeah, exactly.
And you did get bored, so there's something to that. So what else?
Everyone is so cool about everything.
What do you mean?
Everyone's just so cool about aliens attacking. They're just Fury's, he's surprised at first, and then he's like, okay, can I come with you? Can I hang? And then, can I chill a bit? Like aliens come in and attack her, her friend, and kidnap the daughter and everything. And I'm just like, she just kind of looks, she's surprised at first.
Yeah, the mom.
She's surprised.
That's me out there. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and then it's like, all right,
that's cool.
That's fine.
Anybody want cookies? I'm gonna bake. It's like, okay.
Like your best friend who's been gone for how many years?
And you thought was dead.
Yeah, comes back and she's
and now alive.
Got superpowers.
And got superpowers.
Like, neat.
I'm sad for a few minutes, but then I'm cool.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Hey, you got superpowers. That's great.
That I was just like, really? And I'm like, because I think that was the main. It was between her.
But you got to remember the '90s was a very optimistic time, so you got to remember that. It's like everybody was like, "Oh, okay."
it set up a war between the Skrulls and the
Kree.
The Kree. It set up this war or whatever, which the Kree aren't blue. That's another retcon they did. But they set up this war, and then they go and they fight the Skrulls. And this is before like the whole separation thing happened, before she's stranded. They take these Skrulls on, kicking their ass.
Yeah.
And then she gets captured, and there's like 17 of them. And she whoops every single one of them.
Right.
And I'm like, why are y'all at war with them? Why are y'all not making them your slaves at this point? Because they're not a threat to you at all.
Well, that kind of foreshadows pretty strongly, but you figure out what's going to happen. It's like, yeah, they're not a threat at all. So what's the deal? And you're like, oh, well, there you go.
I was like, they're not a threat. And then there's the one Skrull that gives her problems. The one Skrull that gives her, kicks her butt on the train.
Yeah.
I'm just like, wait a minute.
The one guy by himself.
Yeah, and I'm like, wait a minute. She already beat him before.
Right.
How is he giving her so much trouble now? And I'm like, because you need an action sequence. That's why.
Yeah, but I think you can kind of sort of explain it away as in she doesn't want collateral damage, maybe. You know, I mean, she is kind of free with the blasts from her fists.
Yeah, and
but you know, she doesn't shoot the blast inside the train at least.
True.
So you got that. I mean, you know, she's like, hey, if I can knock down if I knock down the overpass, it's not a big deal. But I won't shoot inside the train because I don't. I was like, I can blast the overpass, but whatever.
But that was the thing.
Yeah,
like,
so it's
she
kind
took on like I said, she took on like 17 of these things.
Right.
She took them on in close quarters
with her hands,
and
binding or these big things that she couldn't, so she couldn't blast.
Yeah, with hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, and she beat him before. So I'm like, beat him before. Why is he such a problem now?
Right.
You know, so I'm like, okay, so you got some inconsistency going on there. There was a inconsistency with the comms. Like the comms were jammed and then they weren't, and then they were jammed again. Yeah. And I was like, okay.
Right.
There was another inconsistency. It was like something happened, like it was like one of the alien planes got shot down or whatever. I was like, wait, really, real bullets work? But then it got shot down, crash landed, but it was okay to fly back.
I know.
I was like,
wait a minute, what? Well, you mean was it Jan Rogs or something?
Yeah.
Because like he was shot down and he crashed, and they go, oh, let's reprogram and send him back to space.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
And it's perfectly fine. The little girl knows how to work alien technology just fine. And I'm like,
because it's powered by imagination. That's why.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Now, and the other thing I will say that I thought was really, again, the girl power thing. Again, I got no problem with girl power. We love like the Terminator, Linda Hamilton. Yes. You know, Rocket, Terminator 2. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. You know, Ripley in Aliens movie. We have no problem with that. You know, those are like, you know, for like Ripley and Linda Hamilton's character in the Terminator franchise is kind of the every woman, the everyday person becoming in that extraordinary situation. Like, you know, you're in the future with, say, Ripley, for example, but she knows those aliens are doing. She just was attacked by them.
Right.
And now she's like, well, I got to go save Newt. I don't want to. But then again, I can't have her die like that.
Exactly.
Because, you know, and if you look at from the aliens, if you look at the cutscene, you realize, and this is the bad thing they didn't do, but her daughter died because, you know, remember she was in cryosleep for like 70 years or something. And so her daughter had passed away because she told her daughter she'd be back for her birthday, and she, you know, didn't make it back and she died. So you can kind of see there's like a connection with that girl, Newt, who was close to her daughter's age when she left. So you kind of see a connection there,
right? Which
made it more believable. Like, okay, I could see her going in to the alien stronghold to rescue this kid.
Right.
She's pretty much the only one who can.
Exactly. Right.
So, you know.
Yeah. And
I totally bought into all that. And I was like, dang, man, yeah, that's one of those sequences, which I just thought was a bit heavy-handed again, when her dad was telling her, you know, you can't do your. I'm like, your dad would say that because he's worried about. I don't think it would have mattered if it was a boy or a girl at that point, because she was kind of young and she's racing around the go-karts and almost got herself killed. I could see her dad being upset and angry that she was doing something like that. Not like, oh, you're a girl, you can't do it.
Right.
But like, I don't want you to get hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me. Now, I mean, with the, you know, the other recruits or whoever was yelling at her, it could have been the drill instructor. I think it was the other recruits, but I could see the guys going, you stink, you know, whatever. I could see that, but her own dad would probably be saying that just to make sure she doesn't get hurt because he actually cares about her. Not like, well, you can't do it because you're a girl.
Well, even still,
if that were the case, he wouldn't let her get in the go-kart in the first place.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even still, like just looking at that stuff, even if her like, you know, it's a possibility. Maybe her dad's an ass. I'm like, okay, that even if that's the case, it would have been nice to, you know, go on that empowerment journey with her instead of just showing us those snippets at the end of the movie. It's kind of like, all right, yeah, sure, girl power, fine.
Right.
But I'm like, it would have been nice to kind of go through that journey, go through this journey with her, you know, allow us to see like, yeah, she has this problem with emotion and stuff because people are constantly telling her that she can't do such and such or whatever. And I'm like, okay. And then she's trying to overcompensate and stuff like that. And then at the end of the movie, she realized like, you know, none of this matters. I just need to do, you know, what I need to do and everything. I need to do what's right, you know, and everything. And just allow this character to build to this powerful person. That, in my opinion, is a way better role model for little girls than what we got. I'm sorry, but that's just the case. Like that is a much better role model for someone to come to terms with their own, you know. Look, a lot of that stuff, I get it. You know, a lot of that stuff can give you your own demons and stuff like that. Let her overcome that. Because that's something that people have to do. They have to overcome their own demons. All this stuff that happened to you in the past, yes, it sucked. I get it. But that also, you internalize that stuff, and it comes out, you know, later on in life and stuff. It happens all the time. Happens to me, you know. So I'm like, people can relate more to that. But when you pin it at the end of the movie, it's like, well, we didn't know this stuff before, so why? Oh, it's empowering now because... Yeah, I mean, like, I get it, but it would have been so much better to, like, to build the character to that moment, you know, just like, or show us, like I said, again, it's a show don't tell thing, but, I mean, yeah, they showed it, but you didn't experience it. Right. That's the thing, like, allow us to experience these things with her. Right. This could have, like, and that's one of the most disappointing things about this movie to me, is like, this could have been a great character movie. Great character movie. Had all the potential. But it just seemed like no one cared to really. It was just like, yeah, we'll just do this and this, and we'll get from point A to point B, and it's fine. And
well, it's a filler movie, so it's not. I mean,
see, that's the thing.
They shouldn't have treated it that way, but that's what it is.
Yeah, there is no such thing as a filler movie. This isn't TV, you know?
Right?
You're not trying to pad out a 13 episode run time or whatever. Yeah. I'm just like, no, you're making a film. You're making a film. So every film you make, you should try your absolute best. So, you know, I'm sorry, but it just doesn't feel like they did. And I know, like, Trey had told me, like, there was some Sundance directors and everything and writers that got behind this movie. And it surprised me because I was kind of like, really? And I was thinking,
I think it was a husband-wife or a brother-sister team, I think.
Something like that. So. And it surprised me. I'm just like, well, y'all should be showing these people how to do it.
Yeah. Well, because you for those kind of films, it's all about character development for the most part.
So I was genuinely surprised. I was like,